welcome back, all of our subscribers out there, and anybody else lucky enough to listen in to listen to the Two Old Pirates. This will be podcast 16 now, I believe it is. We haven't been on for about a week, but we got so many views so quickly that we knew that we had to get back out there because you guys just missed us. I mean, with everything going on, how busy your lives are, you just needed the Two Old Pirates in your life. The other podcast did extremely well. I was happy to have Gabriel back on and that we keep this train rolling. And so many things have happened in the last week. How have you been doing down in Rockport?
I've been doing good, just getting ready for the work week. Really just staying home and watching movies, and just I've got one TV on the politics, and I got the other one on sports 24/7. So trying to stay updated with everything that's going on, but I'm doing good. I'm glad to be, back with you, doing this podcast. Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, it was an interesting week. You had a lot of states say that on Friday that they were going to start having a slow opening of different businesses. And I didn't even know here in Texas that they had opened barbershops and salons for women and stuff. And there were so many people that were complaining online about that they needed a haircut and stuff. But that evidently all opened up on Friday. And then I think on Monday, movie theaters and some restaurants will be able to let you sit on the outside and be able to eat at the restaurants and stuff. So, Gabriel here has been going back and forth to work 5 days a week ever since it started. Nothing has changed in his life on that avenue because he's an essential worker. But for a lot of people, they're going to have that chance to go ahead and go back and start earning a paycheck again to pay for their bills, which was such a tremendous burden on so many people. So, since this has been going on, we've seen days roll into weeks and into just over a month and a half, 2 months now. But we might be starting to see the end of the tunnel here, the light at the end of the tunnel. So for Gabriel, it's going to be work as usual. And he doesn't mind doing that because he's on a schedule. For other people like me and my wife, even though we're teaching from home, the schedule kind of gets a little haywire every now and then. Do you think that you'll be going out or anything after they slowly reopen the economy, Gabriel?
I think I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. If they have restaurants, I won't be going and eating inside any of the restaurants. I may get a haircut because I need to. I get a haircut at least once a week. I ain't got no hair, but I go about once a week to get a haircut. So I'll probably do that, but it'll be what I've been doing. This has been like the normal for me. Like we've talked before, I just kind of want to make sure that probably, as I continue to hear daily updates on what's going on with this virus and how safe it is, and I'll probably start making some changes. But I don't see anything changing as far as what I do on my day-to-day. You go to the grocery store once a week, and that's about it. You won't see me going to restaurants or bars or anything like that, or hanging out at the beach. That's just not. I don't think that's something I'd like to do now until I can hear and see that it's going to be a little bit safer.
I feel much the same way. I think a lot of Americans do. I feel bad for some businesses because I think they might open up with the idea that everybody's going to rush at that moment to go see a movie or get something to eat. And some people I do think they will try to accomplish that in the safest way possible. But in other ways, I think it's like how you were just talking about. I think it's going to be one of those things where people are still going to be a little skittish about going out. I mean, after you've been told for this long, that it might not be safe and you're hearing different things in different states and stuff, but as a collective, I think the American public will probably be very apprehensive to go ahead and just jump full tilt back into. Now, they did open up some of the beaches around here since we live on the coast, if you didn't know where Corpus Christi and Rockport are. And at the beaches here in Corpus, at least, it was packed yesterday. There was just cars everywhere. So some of those people, but then again, you can, socially distance yourself at the beach. Movie theater, somebody coughing 2 rows behind you, that might scare you a little bit. So anything going on about we just had the NFL draft, which, year after year, that's one of the biggest watched drafts there is. And, it is not the same, seeing the guy go up there, getting his hat, shaking hands with the commissioner, and then, being interviewed and stuff. I know that you said that you watched deep into the first round on the first night. Did you see anything that surprised you or any teams that you think will get better?
I think I like what the Cowboys. The Cowboys are my team, right? So, we've got a good receiver that I think is going to help our offense. Still got a little bit of holes on the defense, but Burrows went number one. Tua went to Miami. I'm not big on him going to Miami. Herbert went to, I think, the Chargers. We can digest the draft a little bit more. We'll see what happens.
I was going to let our guests know because we are going to have a special guest on tonight. So our viewers, if you wanted to know, we're going to have a frontline type guy. He's a long distance truck driver, and he'll be coming on in a little bit. We're going to cover maybe 1-2 more quick subjects, and then we'll have him on, and he's going to give his perspective. He goes state to state, and there's a lot of things I want to ask him. I know Gabriel's going to ask him some questions. There's some things he wants to talk about, but we've talked about our first responders. We've talked about our people in the medical field, how they're putting they're putting in the hours and safety and stuff. And this is a guy who is young, so he can move around a little bit. We wanted to see his point of view. So we're going to be talking to somebody via his location somewhere in the United States. I don't know what state he's in tonight. I know that he had been in Virginia, and then he had to make a long trip over to Wisconsin. And now we've got it set up for him to be coming to us tonight. So we'll find all that out in a little bit. But I think Gabriel and I wanted to talk to everybody for a second about our hometown, about these protests that have been going on around the country about opening the economy and opening things up, and just just kind of having America back to where it was. And we know that can't happen overnight. But Gabriel, there was a post that came out on Facebook that we both read. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about that might not know about Rockport and what when we say what they're asking about, why it might be a little bit different than opening up the economy, what they want?
Well, here we're a tourist town, right? You lived here all your life as I have, and I think we read something. I don't want to misquote, but I think it was something about maybe somebody wanting to get like maybe a protest going to open up our beaches, and then there was, I don't know how many comments. There was a lot of comments. Got a good response back, and I just
last time I saw it was like 600 or 700. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was definitely something that was like on fire.
Yeah, and there were some people that were supporting the idea. There was a lot of people, I think, that weren't interested. But I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because a lot of the comments that we saw, had to do with trying to compare things, like going to the grocery store and, we're around people. But that's a necessity. I mean, you need to get into the grocery store. And I don't wear a mask. But even before this thing happened, I'd cough up in my arm or something. I never just cough out. And I go to the grocery store once a week, and then I just come from work back home. With the protest and the beach, I think as we're a tourist town, right? Once you open the beach, I believe that you're getting a lot of people that are coming in. There's a lot of people. This is the time when people want to come to Rockport. A lot of people got second homes here. And they come down here and they stay at the hotels, spring break all the way up through summer, probably up until September, October. We're going to be at full capacity here. So once you open up that beach, you're going to have all kinds of people here because you don't know, even if you social distance or you do whatever, at some point when you get people back in that beach, people are going to be running into each other. The social distancing is going to work, I think, to a certain extent. I wouldn't want to bring more people in and potentially this, become an issue here in this county, or then we'll have to shut down completely. We're just trying to reopen, and Governor Abbott is trying to open up slowly. And even though I do understand when people say that the economy has to open, I mean, we've got to get back to some kind of normalcy. It's scary because we don't know what's going on. The experts, they come out and say, hey, we may get this, again, in September, in the fall, and we don't know right now where this is going, and we don't know how bad it can get. And I think just to say, hey, let's just go ahead and start, and let's just reopen it again, and let's get back to some normalcy, understanding that that's important. And I myself want to get back to the things I used to do. I'm still very cautious as to if it's the right thing to do now. I think that the city council, the mayor here at Rockport Fulton, I think they're doing the best they can. they've got a job to protect the people of this county. And they've got to listen to the experts. They got to listen to what's going on and try to make the best decision. I can tell you that I wouldn't want to be a mayor or anything. It's a very tough decision. You've got to weigh in the options. I've got to get things going again, yet I got to do it in a way that, won't bring disaster to the country. But we got to be cautious, Eric, to make sure that we don't do it, or that we do it in a way that doesn't put any harm to any people. So even though I think it's important to open up, we have to do it in a way, slowly, that will not bring any kind of cases or anything, get people sick. And we want to do it right so that we can enjoy these things and not have to go back.
One thing I wanted to say is that you had mentioned something earlier that you told your daughter about, and I thought it was something that maybe should be said to some of these people that are pushing so hard about things that they want, not the jobs, but things that they want. Like, I want to be able to go here, I want to be able to go there. Is when you said, the beach was there before I was alive, and the beach is going to be there after I'm gone. So if I have to wait another couple of weeks or maybe a month until we all get the go ahead, the beach is going to be there, and I can go out there every single day, and I might even enjoy it and respect it even more than I did before, due to the fact that now I understand how easily something can be taken away. I think sometimes people need to just, and people always think it's teenagers that are unable to go ahead and see the big picture. There's some people on this earth that are in their 80s and they've still never been able to understand the big picture. And the thing is, I think that if it could be explained that way to them, saying it's still going to be there, don't worry about it. It might take a couple more weeks, it might take a month, but then you'll be out on the beach walking your dog, soaking up the sun and having a margarita or an ice cold beer or whatever you want to drink, and you'll say, damn, this was taken away from me because of this stupid virus for a short amount of time. For the rest of my life, I'm going to really respect and enjoy the beach, or I'm going to really respect and enjoy this hiking trail or something.
Well, let me ask you. Yeah, I did say that. I said, the beach was here before I was born, and it's going to be here way after I'm gone from this world. But I think, what we have to understand, if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, July 1st, we're going to open back up, I'd be okay. Let's do it. Because as important as I know it is, it's not a necessity. Food's a necessity. We've got to get to the grocery store. We've got to buy groceries. We've got to feed our families, right, and ourselves. But the beach is not a necessity. So I take the precaution, and I like to get back to the things that we enjoy here in our county, in our town. But I want to do it in a way that's safe. And hopefully we'll get that real soon.
All right. We're happy to have our special guest on tonight. He's a truck driver that goes all over the country. He had been a student of mine out at Flower Bluff years ago, and now he's got his own life going on and stuff. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you. I appreciate it.
What state are you in tonight, sir?
Right now, I'm currently in Wisconsin, about 20 or 25 miles east of the border from Minnesota. I'm going to be delivering just north of St. Paul tomorrow morning.
Well, I was going to ask you a question. The other day you told me when we were trying to set this up that you're in Virginia. How far of a drive is it from Virginia to Wisconsin?
I would have to estimate from where I was in Virginia, probably give or take probably about 700 or 800 miles. I could be wrong, but around that distance. It's an estimation.
And did you do that in one day?
No, it was on 2 separate days. Basically, us truckers, we are only limited to drive 11 hours a day, and that's after we take a 10-hour rest.
Oh, okay. So they have changed some things because, everybody's grown up. And if you're driving anywhere in the country and stuff and you see a big 18-wheeler, you ask them to honk first. And then, of course, you think, man, how do they keep going and going and going? I'm sure the safety things have changed over the years so that you guys have a chance to rest. Because, number one, you've got one of the biggest moving automobile things on the road, and it could not only harm yourself, but it could hurt other people. So they do mandatorily make you take at least a 10-hour break?
Yes. So the way the regulations work, it's run by the FMSCA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association, and the way it is we have to start the day with a pre-trip inspection of our truck and trailer, make sure everything's in working order. And we usually do that for about 15 minutes. That's what I believe that's what the regulations require. And then once we're done with that, if everything's good, by the regulations, we cannot drive more than eight hours consecutively without taking a 30-minute break. If we go longer than that, we are in violation, and the fines can be very hefty. But we cannot do more than 11 hours basically in a 10-hour period. Like you have to take the 10 hours off first before you can basically do it all over again.
Gabriel, I think that there's a couple things that you're going to ask Michael about.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Gabriel, doing pretty good.
Hey, I just kind of wanted to ask a question, but with this whole virus thing that's going on, how has that impacted your employment, or if it has had any effect at all?
All right, so basically, as far as the product that we haul, though, I'm actually a flatbedder right now, and as far as the product, I mean, we're still all hauling the same stuff, and I mean, we're still out here working, but I don't know if you guys saw on the news a while back, but they actually put some they actually updated the hours of service these times, but they're only for emergency deliveries only. So I still have to follow the FMSCA guidelines as far as that goes.
Okay. And personally, has it had any effect on you and your family?
I mean, for the most part, not exactly, but just this last week, it does have an effect because usually they would give me some freight like pretty consistently. This company I'm in, E.W. Wiley, but last week, I guess they were having some trouble finding the freight, and personally, to me, there may have been freight out there, but the way how it works is they got to get a rate in order for like everybody to make money off of, and with the coronavirus that's going on, the rates have been dropping. Like everybody is suffering, the investors, the truckers, like everybody is, and like it's put a little bit of an impact on me as well, but not too severely. And there are some states out here that actually have like mandatory restrictions for the face mask anytime you go out in public.
I just have one more question for him, Eric, and then I'll let you jump in. So you go state to state. What do you see? Like you go to one state, you go to Virginia. You know, we see what's going on in Georgia. Are you seeing any of the protesting? I mean, I don't know exactly where you go, but what do you see when you go? If you could kind of talk a little bit, since you're going, to different states, what have you seen, if any, from one state to another state? What do you see? Do you see anything at all? As far as people, or maybe the way people are acting, or if you're out there, I don't know how much you interact with people, but what do you see out there in these different states?
Alrighty, so basically, as far as the protests go, I in my own eyes have not seen any, but they are going on out there. I just haven't seen any personally, but these days when I am in the bigger cities, usually during the morning rush and then the afternoon rush when people are getting out of work, there's not really any traffic jams, and that's including like in Chicago and New York City, like because I came from up from the Northeast just last week, from Maine, going down to Springfield, Virginia, delivering at this place right next to the Washington Post, and basically like there was no traffic holdups like whatsoever. Even coming through 95, going to the Bronx on the George Washington Bridge, there wasn't really any traffic issues, and quite frankly, it's in a sense it's kind of nerve wracking too, because like you take into consideration that that's one of the busiest areas in the city, and for there to not be that much traffic, it's put a huge impact on the workers over there and everybody else. So it's mostly like the lack of traffic that I've been noticing, like as far as the biggest change out here.
Okay. How often do you get to come home?
Usually this company, for every for every 7 days out, it's a day and a half off. So like for example, say if I stay out like 2 weeks, it's the most we could take off is 3. But in my case, I do this by choice. I usually stay out here a month at a time, but this time I'm not going to be coming home till around June because I mean I got a lot of personal matters I got to take care of that require a lot of financial expenses.
And how long have you been doing this now?
As far as driving trucks, I've been doing it for over 3.5 years. Flatbedding, I will hit my first year in July.
Do you see this as your career for the rest of your life, or do you think that you might jump into something else since you're still relatively young?
There could be a chance that I will jump into something else, but for the most part, I think I may make this a career because like there's so much that I see in this world. There's a lot I have learned over the past 3.5 years. I mean, and it's basically just one of those jobs to where even though I'm away from home a lot, it basically helps me out. Like it helps me out to survive comfortably and provide for my son. And I mean it feels like it's a rewarding experience because I mean I'm still learning new things every day, believe it or not. And the same goes for the drivers who've been out here for 2 decades or more. They're still learning things.
Gabriel, do you have anything else?
Yeah, Mike, I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on where we're at. What's your thoughts on the economy? I mean, earlier I was telling Eric, I mean, we've got to open up, right? But, you know, I have my view on what I think we should do. And I just kind of want to get your thoughts on what's your thoughts on, you know, the economy, you know, opening up.
All right. So in my view on this, the economy does need to open up, but I think what Abbott's been doing, like one step at a time, like baby steps, make sure people are still cautious, make sure people are still social distancing, wearing their mask in the public parks, like he ordered, because sooner or later, like this economy has got to start rolling because I'm pretty positive that if they're still going to do all these stimulus checks, if they're going to like wait for a vaccine for so long, like there would be no more money left. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's almost as if like we would all have to go back to like how people would get food in the old times, like going hunting, like creating a fire and stuff like that. And I've been reading reports on like farmers having to throw away meat, milk, like their produce and their fruits because nobody's buying them due to a lack of demand. And when people do buy them, it's like the truckers don't really want to transport because the rates that the investors and those people are charging, like nobody's gonna make anything out of it. Like everything's just so low. And I'm pretty sure you guys also heard about the Smithfield plants closing down. I believe one was in North Carolina and there was another one somewhere. Yeah, Smithfield. They closed down their plants, and then some of the Tyson plants they shut down due to some of their employees being tested positive for coronavirus. And that's affecting the transport of beef going to the stores.
I know that if Smithfield is the one I'm thinking about, the first one that really hit the news was the one that was in South Dakota, and I think there was 400 or 500 people that got sick at that plant, and it produced I think 5% of the nation's pork. So you know when you think about 100%, you don't think 5% is that much, but would anybody want to lose 5% of their body? No. So the thing is, they said that it would hurt, bacon, sausage, anybody, pork chops, anybody that's buying pork and stuff, that the price might have to go up because they're probably going to have to shut down that factory in South Dakota. It might be the one that you're talking about. And I think, like how you said, the one over in the Carolinas got hit. So, some of these companies were kind of skirting maybe safety issues to make an extra buck. And then now it's coming back that you have a multitude, not 1, 2, 10. I think the one in South Dakota had literally 400 or 500 people that were sick at that one. And when they looked at the state of South Dakota, I think they said something like 30% of the positives were in that one plant for the entire state. And it's like, it scared a lot of people. Hey, I wanted to ask you a real quick question. When this first started, nobody was really patting people on the back that were the essential workers and stuff. You know, like Gabriel, he's an essential worker, so he's working every single day. And then all of a sudden, you had this overflowing amount of camaraderie and love that they were trying to give nurses and doctors and truck drivers, and they're saying, you know, we need. So I was going to ask you, from when this first began until now, have you seen a swing at all in the way people? Are they more affectionate? Are they, hey, do you need a free meal? Or are they, or has it always been that way? Because the one thing that they said is that, you know, I've seen a lot of different memes on Facebook and stuff like, hey, you know, don't donate to this charity, donate to truckers so that they can have, you know, free shower, free coffee, free food, whatever they need, because they're the ones transporting the stuff that we need every day. So since you are a long distance trucker, have you seen anything where it's been like, you stop at like one of those 24-hour, you know, truck stops, you know, and they're like, they've got signs of, hey, whatever you need, we're going to hook you up? Or is it kind of all just like just news that people have been putting out there, but maybe you're not actually being affected?
Alrighty, so basically, as far as that goes, there are actually some truck stops across the country. Like most of them do have a list of fast food options, and there are some that keep their lobbies open, like just for takeout only, and there are some that just completely close it. And then us truckers, we would either have to rely on using an app or go into the drive-through in some of these places. And keep in mind, I mean, when we go and drive through, like on foot, it's like we got to worry about like if any cars are gonna like accidentally hit us or anything. And there actually have been some places that offer truckers free meals. I know one of them, Texas Roadhouse. Basically, they'll actually let the truckers park in their parking lot, and they'll have like a tent set up and order and they'll just place the order and bring out the food for them. Now there was one individual, I'm trying to remember what state he was in, but he posted a picture online and it went viral. It basically was his receipt, and that they actually paid for his meal. I believe it was around $12, but they actually paid for it. And when I saw that, it actually warmed my heart a little bit, because believe it or not, like before all this happened, truckers never really got so much like appreciation, like for all the stuff that we do. And personally, I don't ask for appreciation. I just ask people to be humble and acknowledge the fact that basically people had to acknowledge that, hey, like basically without us, like how is stuff gonna get to the store or something along those lines? How is anything gonna get transported in such large quantities? You know.
Well, what I find amazing is that, and I'm not picking on anybody, but you'll have people that'll go to like a Starbucks, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's shut down today for whatever reason," and they're like, "I can't get my mocha latte, frappuccino, cinnamon flavored, whatever," and they're pissed off about something like that. When this hit and you couldn't get certain items, people then I think started realizing there's people behind the scenes, the stockers at night, you know, that come out and stock everything, the truckers that bring in the stuff, all this hard work that has to go into having that stuff put on the shelf for you, besides just you putting it into your cart, going up there, having somebody say, hey, how you doing and stuff, then they scan it, sack it, you go out and you go on with your life and stuff. They weren't really understanding that these are people 24/7 working around the clock and different locations, bringing stuff in, stocking stuff. And then when this happened, everybody's all like, it's a good thing that they were like that, but damn, it took a pandemic for people to respect people that work their asses off, excuse my language. And, you know, truck drivers have always been it's like the roads are the veins, and you guys are the ones supporting us coming through the veins to the different areas, the different arteries like cities, and you're delivering things that we have to have. And then when you saw them missing at Walmart or HEB, people are like, this isn't fair. Why aren't they here? Why don't we have this? And they're like, there's only so much stuff, and they're trying to bring it in as fast as they can. You don't snap your finger and it just shows up. I think so many people got used to Amazon.com where you could just order and say, in 2 days, I'm going to have this. And if it was on the third day, you'd be pissed. You'd be like, no, it's supposed to be two. And we've kind of become selfish like that. So we're, in a way, I think it's sad that we had to have a pandemic for so many different things that we've now realized that we have to enjoy and appreciate. And so I just want to let you know that we appreciate what you do. And I hope that maybe this will be a permanent pinch and a wake up call to Americans. Gabriel, got anything else to add?
Yeah, I got just two more questions from Mike. Mike, one is, what do you think about the job that the governor of Georgia is doing when he just opened everything up immediately? And then the second question would be, how well do you think President Trump's doing with this whole coronavirus issue?
Alrighty, I'll be more than happy to answer that. So about the Governor Kemp. I mean, because there's a lot of views on this, but the way I'm seeing it is like it's like he's doing it kind of like a free for all. Because I mean, when you basically just open everything up at once, there's gonna be like a massive trove of people, like going to gyms, salons, barbershops, you name it. Like everybody's just gonna go out. Like, I mean, it's putting a huge risk. I mean, and I remember Trump saying like, do what you feel is best. And I mean, even though it's not the smartest idea, I mean, they would just have to see how it plays out. I mean, the chances of people getting basically getting infected or reinfected, like they're kind of up there. Basically, like he's taking no precautions, unlike Abbott is doing. Like Abbott, he's taking precautions on all this. Like so my overall view on that is like he's going a little too fast with this. He's going a little too fast. Like slow it down. Like use precautions if you're going to open up. Because even though most of the state is like kind of like spread wide, like a lot of little towns just away from Atlanta and Savannah, but I mean he's got to take into consideration. He's got to take into consideration that you got to do it at a steady pace, like baby steps, you know.
Yeah, and how about what do you think Trump's doing with the situation with this virus?
All right, so
the situation.
All right, so as far as the situation goes, trying to figure out how I can put this in words. Like, I mean, it seems like he's doing some stuff right. It's kind of like a half and a half. Like there are some things he's doing right, like basically like ordering the ventilators and making sure we get all of our equipment, like all the face masks. Basically, like he's mostly leaving the power to the states on all this. Like he's mostly leaving it to the states because it's basically a separation from federal state. That's basically the way he's playing it. And I mean there are some things he said like during his press conferences that are very frowned upon. And then like people, I mean there are some things people do interpret the wrong way, but at the same time, like there are some things to say, but and that you shouldn't say like during moments like these. But as far as his handling goes, I feel like he's doing a good job, but there are some things that he just needs to like kind of like slow down, take precaution on, because I think the way he's viewing it is like with a high level of optimism without the concern, you know.
Absolutely. And I just kind of want to tell you, I know it's kind of, some people don't really, want to comment on that, but I want to ask people because I have my own view, and when we bring people on, I like to get other people's point of view. That's why I asked you, not to put you on the spot, but I like to hear other people's point of view. I learn from other people, that you may say something that I didn't think about. And so I always like to hear what other people have to say and what their opinion is as to how, the president is handling things. So I hope I didn't try to put you on the spot, but I did want to hear your response on how you felt President Trump was handling this situation. I mean, it's a hard situation. I wouldn't want to be the president handling this stuff because there's no right or wrong. You've got to open up the economy. You've got to get people working again. You've got this pressure of people, unemployment just it continues to skyrocket, right? At the same time, you got to worry about, if you do this, where you lose more lives, how bad can this get? So it's a bad situation to be in. And so that's why I asked you, because I want to get your point of view on what you thought and how you thought he was doing this. So thank you for answering those questions. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. There's actually one thing I do need to say though. as far as like a continuation to my response. So basically, like I personally don't know if Trump is seeing this or not, but if he's not, basically like the way I've been seeing things out here, the fact that like I said, like farmers are having to throw away all their stuff, and then there's like low demand in stores. The JBS plant in South Dakota. It was JBS, Mr. DeWitt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was JBS, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They closed down that plant. They closed down that plant due to the coronavirus. And basically, I mean, it's also putting an impact on everything. Like I said, like next thing you know, like these stores, like they're like it's almost gonna get to the point eventually to where there will be nothing to order like that we can consume, and then there will be deaths that are like not even like COVID-19 related. Like sooner or later, like people are gonna end up starving, like famine, and thus they will be more like prone to like viruses, like even to COVID-19, because when we're not getting the nutrients and vitamins like in our body like we're usually supposed to, it builds a like there will be a lack of immunity. There will be a lack of immunity, like, and I mean the best way to prevent something like this, to boost your immune system, vitamin C and D, eat fruits, basically get sunlight, but at the same time basically like kind of, I guess, like so like the social distancing, keep social distancing, but get the sunlight, because I was doing some research the other day, and I don't think I learned this in school, but sunlight is basically the main source of vitamin D.
Yes, yes, it is.
And with vitamin C, like, I mean, you can get that from like fruits and vegetables, and like mainly like citrus, you know. And I mean, once immune health improves, it's almost like even if you do catch down with a sickness, like your immune system will fight a lot harder, you know. Like it's kind of like a common sense thing, but there's some science added to it and some biology.
Well, so you said that you're going to be continuing on to where tomorrow?
Hugo, Minnesota. It's just north of St. Paul, right off of I-35. Right off of I-35.
Do you know what your next job after that is?
I do not know yet. I will more than likely find out tomorrow morning.
Well, Mike, thanks so much for calling in from Wisconsin. Be careful going to Minnesota, and maybe we'll look you up in another week or two and have you on for another surprise guest. And maybe we could do like how you have the Jimmy Fallon shows and stuff where somebody pops in like every now and then. You'll be our surprise guest, Michael, the truck driver.
Yes, sir. That'll work out just fine for me.
You take it easy, Mike.
All right. You guys do the same. Take care now.
Take care, Mike. You know, very interesting. I like the conversation that we had, and like I was saying earlier, I really enjoy having different people on to give their perspective on all kinds of things that are going on, right? Because especially Mike, who's out, you know, in the different states, you know, you don't know what he's seen, what he comes across, and how it affects. So I like getting other people's point of view. Oh, we want to get on this podcast. We want to hear from all angles, right? So it was good to have Mike on. I really enjoyed the conversations, and I hope to have him back soon. Hopefully.